Welcome to the Fueling Innovation podcast. My name is Jordan and I'm from the Knowledge Exchange Enterprise team at the University of Northampton. Now, the purpose of this series is to really showcase and highlight the amazing people and organisations within Northamptonshire. So, getting started, we are welcoming our first guest today, which is Phil from Spokes Education. Hello.
Hello, Jordan.
It has been, we've done a lot of work together over the years, but it's been a while.
Yes, a few years now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's good.
So, let's get straight into it. So we're going to talk a bit about business. So tell us a story about your business and give us a bit of background about what it is. What do you do?
Sure. So we are essentially a digital learning agency. So we create primarily like custom e-learning and custom like digital resources for educational purposes. We work primarily with non-profits and education sector. But yeah, we do lots of other things around digital learning as well, such as course hosting and administration. But our kind of passion is creating the courses. So yeah, we started. I started just as a freelance kind of consultant back in 2013, and then we took our first member of staff on in 2018, and then we've kind of grown from there and developed the business over the last, I guess, 7 years or so. Yeah.
Because I think when I first met you, I just started at UON when we still had the Growth Hub. I think that's when I first met you. So that feels like a long time ago now. So what makes your business, I guess, I'm not sure if unique to Northamptonshire?
I think there's not a lot of digital learning agencies out. There's a couple of other ones in Northamptonshire for sure. But I think that a lot of the kind of digital learning agencies, the big ones tend to be in the big cities, and Northampton has got like a few of the kind of sort of mid-range smaller agencies. I think we're a little bit different. And again, one of the challenges of business is how do you differentiate yourself from other people, right? What's your niche? So what we've kind of done is try to position ourselves as specialists working with non-profit and public sector organisations. So I think that's where we're a little bit different to a couple of the other agencies in Northampton who might do a bit more corporate work. We kind of very much kind of work with humanitarian organisations and like large charities and things like that.
I think that's a really difficult thing for businesses, because I think it's really easy, especially now when everyone's got access to so many things now that they never used to. Like social media has massively changed the business landscape. Mm-hmm. That it's easy to fall into that trap, and I think I see it more because of my photography background of being like, oh, I can do everything for everybody.
Yes.
And actually, I think people don't realize it's sticking to like a niche and being like, no, we're not going to step outside of like, we're going to really focus on being in this sector and being this expert in this area is actually probably the way to go forward, as opposed to trying to be like a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I think it's again when you sort of start business, you kind of try and find different ways, and it just so happened that our first few clients they were in that sector. So I think what happened is it wasn't something I set out to do initially, but we'd already kind of established a nice client base, and then that makes it easy to win new business with similar types of clients. And then we kind of just built that. But then last year we kind of rebranded and actually said, no, we're actually going to this is who we are when we kind of really kind of position ourselves as specialists in the non-profit space. So we have worked with corporates in the past, but we now are not actively looking to do that. If something comes along, but we sort of say our kind of line is anyone that's trying to do good in the world. So charities, anyone that's kind of doing projects aligning to the sustainable development goals and things like that. So it's not, we're not exclusively saying, no, we're not going to do corporate, but we want to work on impactful projects.
Working on things that are going to make a difference and actually have an impact, as opposed to like, oh, that looks nice and pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally get that. So obviously, fueling innovation, we're going to talk about innovation because we have to. So what does innovation actually mean to you?
So I think it's not just around, people will perhaps think about innovation of, oh, here's a new thing that doesn't exist yet, right? Or here's a new thing that, it's a new shiny toy or a new shiny gadget. It's for me, it's more around doing things in a slightly different way. And that doesn't necessarily mean to the rest of the world. It might mean, but to us and how we've adapted and changed over time. So for me, I feel like we're always innovating, not necessarily, like I said, what changing the world and changing the landscape and doing things completely different, but we're doing things differently within ourselves. And that, may differentiate ourselves from other people. But I think it's just constantly evolving. So it's more like an evolution. And it's kind of like, well, how can we do things better? How can we do things differently? And how can we kind of adapt and change to the landscape as well?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like everyone always assumes, like you said, that innovation means like the latest thing in tech, or especially when it comes to like medicine and things like that, you know, the latest vaccine, blah, 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 blah. And actually, I don't think people realize that something tiny can really make a difference, not just to you, but actually if that's in a best practice, that then that can be adapted to other people. That is an innovative idea.
Exactly.
And it does change things. So can you share an example of a project that you've worked on recently?
Yeah, so we worked on all sorts of different projects for our clients, and like I said, the topics of kind of the courses we create are really, really vast. So at the moment, for example, we're working on something around gender transformative education. We've been working on things like mental health courses, and we've been working on deep sea mineral mining. So like, you know, really kind of vast range of things. So our client work, you know, varies quite a lot. We do lots of things like, you know, child protection type stuff. We're doing a course as well on child marriage and things like that. So again, working with large charities that are really kind of make a difference and trying to help people in across the world, but developing countries and as well as more locally. But the thing that we've kind of our passion project over the last couple of years has been our internal project we've been working on ourselves, which is probably the most innovative thing that we've done, because it's been all of us that are trying to do it, which is we've created free interactive digital lessons for primary schools.
Amazing.
So that has been a challenge because we've had to do it all ourselves, completely bootstrapped, no funding. We've kind of just done it. But the team have like just absolutely like smashed this out of the park, and we've created essentially something that doesn't exist out there. Like there's lessons out there for schools that they can pick up and play. There's interactive lessons even. There's not many that are interactive and free, and there's not many out there that are the quality that we've done. Because again, our team is made up of a combination of educators, or you know, lots of ex-teachers, and creative people. So we've really kind of thought, how can we maximize the experience and skill set we've got in the team to create a product that's ours and something we can kind of, you know. And it started off as a bit of a passion thing, but it's kind of grown into this massive thing now where we've got such a massive scope to develop it further. So yeah, that's kind of been our passion at the moment.
Did that come from, I don't know, we don't like talking about COVID, but was that something that you realised there was a bit of a gap for during COVID, or was that just something that you've gone, actually, this is a gap and it's something that is needed?
I think it's a little bit of both. So definitely our business changed over COVID. There was definitely a massive shift with, you know, lots of people moving, particularly in the non-profit sector, where actually a lot of training and learning development went on in person. So organisations were flying people all over the world to like a central point, do face-to-face. And obviously that couldn't happen over COVID. So what happened is they shifted a lot of that to digital learning. That then, you know, changed how things did.
Yes.
It wasn't great in many ways because people were just churning stuff out quickly and it wasn't necessarily the best quality. But then what also happened over that time with schools, obviously then, you know, teachers, my wife's a teacher, and, you know, she's had to adapt how she worked, because all of a sudden now it's like, well, we're going to have our classroom is now virtual.
Yeah.
And we have to reposition our lesson plans. We have to think about how we're going to adapt these, because she's a drama as well, particularly. It's like, how do we do this?
How do we do Shakespeare?
Yeah, well, exactly.
How do we do Shakespeare in your living room when you're not with me?
So definitely that kind of shifted the landscape. But what actually happened, we worked on another project for one of our clients who put together a climate change curriculum, and they asked us to develop it for them. And we were just like, wow, this is really cool. And it was like, we did like these cool animations, some cool like interactions in games. And we did all this, and we were like, we could do this ourselves as well. Like there's nothing stopping us doing this because we've got the in-house capability of doing it. So we just kind of saw that opportunity going, we've just done this for somebody else, and we can definitely just do this for ourselves as well. So we were looking at doing something, you know, we wanted to do our own product and our own thing. And we've toyed around with a couple of things in the past, but we were just like, there's something here, and actually schools, you know, will like this as well.
Yeah, and I think, what problems have you found as a business trying to innovate? Because obviously we've touched on the things like you said, schools and money is a big one, and I think that is an issue for a lot of business. That's an issue for everybody, and it doesn't matter what sector you're in. So what kind of issues have you found where you're like, I really want to do this, or oh, actually this would be an incredible idea? And then I guess, how have you kind of gotten around it and gone, actually, here is how we solve this problem?
Yeah. So I think that again, same with all small businesses. You've talked to people similar to me who've got these kind of businesses. They'll all say the same thing. You know, time and money, right? That's always the challenge, right? So finding time to do the things that you want to do whilst you're still trying to do the grind and work on bring money in and do the projects that you're being paid to do. So that was always a challenge, and when we started doing this 2 years ago, it took ages to get moving because we were obviously having to pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, we did at one point bring in a bigger team to do that, but then of course we've got to sustain that bigger team. So it becomes really a balancing act of getting that, knowing that it's completely bootstrapped. There's no money, and knowing that this project is not going to make us money really ever. It might make it. The idea is it will become self-sustaining, but it's not going to make us money. Certainly not in the.
Yeah, it's going to break even. It's not going to be profit.
Yeah, and even then, it's not going to break even for years, right? So we've got to somehow, during this development phase, we've probably invested the equivalent of about £150,000 of our own time and some money. We've done some external costs as well to get it to this point. And we're a small company, right? We don't have £150,000 just to throw it. But what in a weird way, the fact that the last year or so has been really hard. It's been slow, just across. Again, you talk to everyone will say the same. Business has been slow. The global economy, everything slows down. Learning development, normally one of the first budgets to go.
Yep.
So you'll find that, and marketing being the second one.
Yep.
Yes. So events. Yeah. So you'll understand as well that they're the things where those budgets, they're the easy things to cut, right? Because they're non-essentials. Where actually, if you work in those industries, you go, well, actually, no, they are. If you think longer term, particularly, they are essential. Right? So, but what happens is that budget got cut. So we've really kind of found it hard to get new work over the last year. But on the flip side, I've kind of seen that as a bit of a blessing and taken an opportunity to go, let's just get our head into this and let's just spend that time. So over the course, particularly the last year, we've really kind of gone from concept to now we've actually got something tangible and we've got the framework in place to be able to develop it much, much further and much quicker.
So let's talk about some of the projects you've done, because like we said, we've had a long history. Mm-hmm. So start from the beginning, because you've done so much stuff at university, and obviously you're alumni as well. So that's it's like a very well-rounded. You've come back.
Well, because it's changed a bit since I was at university. I mean, I did mine. Mine was technically on the Avenue campus back in the old. But I actually attended the Northampton College because all the stuff, because it's music and that's where all the stuff was. So it's very, very different to how I remember it. But yeah, I think when we first set up, one of the first things we did with the university was actually took on an intern. So I think it was back in 2018. I think around that time, we took a University of Northampton intern on through I think it's a grant-funded kind of program, and since then we've taken another 6 or 7 different people on internships through similar type of schemes, driven by the university and University of Bedford as well. I think Bedfordshire was involved in them as well. So yeah, we did that, and then when Digital Northampton first started as well, we were kind of one of the first people to be involved in that. So we got involved in some of the workshops and did a couple of talks, and obviously done a couple of interview type things as well. So we've done that, and obviously we kept through those 2 things, and I think that's kind of kept the conversation going with people like yourself and other people at university. And we've even actually done a couple of other bits at university. We've done a couple of talks for classes. So we did a talk on digital accessibility, for example. So I think it's one of the learning. I can't remember what the course was now.
Yeah,
but
it's a big part of the university.
Yeah, so there was a course on. There's a undergraduate degree in something to do around accessibility, and we went and did a talk. We've done it twice actually on how we apply accessibility into digital learning, for example, and things like that. So we've kind of kept those different links up and worked in different ways. So yeah, it's been quite nice.
I always love it when we meet alumni who then end up kind of working with us again. Like it's like oh, you're back, come back. It's really nice. So how has working with the university made a difference to your business?
So I think, like I said, for me as a small business, just having like a bit of exposure and a little bit of again, we're not good at marketing. We never have been marketers of ourselves. Like most of our workers come through repeat and referred business and tendered stuff, but we don't have a big marketing presence. We've started to do a bit of social media with our new venture, but again, it's all new to us. We don't really know what we're doing. We don't have a marketing person in house, can't afford it. But so we kind of like relied a little bit on the community. So, for example, particularly say Digital Northampton and the likes of yourselves have been really supportive. So when we have got something and people have kind of referred us or talked about us, and like I said, that for us is huge because we, like I said, we're not going to ever be top of the Google charts, and we're not going to be like where people come and find us easily. People find us through
through connections.
Through connections.
Yeah, totally. And I think that applies a lot to a lot of small businesses and freelancers and things like that. But also, you tend to find that any business that has more of a social impact goal tends to be the ones who are like, why, like they don't shout about themselves necessarily as much as like a big corporate company, because it's a very different type of work.
I never wanted to be that person. Right? I never wanted to be the look at us, look at I don't like it. I find it a bit icky. Like I actually worked before I started this, I worked in car rental. I was on my first job out of university. I worked in car rental, and I did and I had to obviously sell car rental, and I actually became the best seller in the region very, very quickly. But I never did it through selling. Right? I never sold anything. I just did it through helping, and and like I say, I used to get lots of people come back to me because they knew I would be helpful, and I knew that I would give them the best deal, the best advice, not because I was trying to sell them anything, because I was just trying to help them and find the best solution for what their needs were, right? So that's what I've done going into Spokes Education. It's like I've just been like, if someone needs us, I'll be here and I'll have that conversation and help you. And if that leads to work, great. If it doesn't, then I'll feel good that I've helped you. Right?
So what would you say to business? Would you recommend working with university to businesses?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, there's there's nothing to lose, at least the very minimum, right? But actually, like I said, because like I said, people might just go, oh, university is about going and learning stuff. But actually, they do much more, right? So if you look at all the different things that the university does and the different schemes and different things getting involved with, say something like Digital Northampton, again, it was great for a business like ours as new, because again, it's a way to kind of go and meet other people.
It's great for campus. We get such a good buzz.
Yeah,
it's great.
Exactly. So I think there are all these other things that go on at the university that people are perhaps not aware of, right? So I think it's just go and see what's going on, and go and see how that works for you and how that can fit into what you're doing. So yeah. So
we've kind of touched on this a little bit already, but what advice would you give to our current students or even graduates, really, in terms of if they want to start their own venture or they just want to start their career even?
I think if lots of people come out of university now, they want to be like an entrepreneur, they want to start their own business, right? But I think actually it's really, really important you go and get real life experience first. Don't be afraid of going to work and applying your trade and understanding how the business works. If you go straight in and go, some people can do it, I'm sure, but actually you've got to really understand how business works and how everything works around it. It's not just, I think it's really important. And again, I see people who go and do their own thing and they perhaps go and do it too soon, and it won't work. Again, some people get a little bit lucky, or they get, they have the natural knack for it. But the majority of us, I couldn't have done what I do now without having years of working in different industries for different organizations. And I didn't start Spokes Education, like I said, until I was 31. That was kind of as an independent consultant. I didn't take a member of staff on until I was 36. And even then it was all scary and new, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was having to wing my way through it. But I could do that because I'd learned the skills before. So I think it's important, go and get as much experience as you can.
What do you see changing for your industry, I guess, type of work, your sector? How do you see that going over the next few years, and what do you think you're going to have to do to kind of navigate?
So yeah, it's really, to be honest with you, it's really difficult to predict, because obviously everything's changing all the time, and with the learning development, there's always something that this thing's going to die and this thing's going to blow up, and it never does. Everything just goes in circles, right? So, and again, this is education. It just might go in a little bit of a spiral, but it tends to just keep going round and round and round. It's just, but eventually, something's going to have to change. So it's difficult to kind of completely predict. Obviously, we're trying to keep ahead of the game in terms of things like, say, the tools we're using and being as efficient as possible, and improving our quality. So we're always looking at how we can be more efficient and be better. But I think the reason why we wanted to kind of shift a little bit and go down this route with our new product and look at doing something else was to kind of future-proof us and have a different option. And because again, for me, I feel like there's a shift towards more digital in schools for sure. And I thought if we can be part of that movement, then there's, like I said, there's plenty more opportunity for that to expand and grow. Like I said, we can take what we've done and apply it to any key stage, any audience. We're doing stuff now for like teacher training. We're doing stuff, we're thinking about doing stuff like key stage 3, 4, 5 even, and we can apply it to like any language, any subject, so we're looking at we've got this framework now that actually we can go off in a number of different directions, and we're ready to do that, but we're kind of waiting for that opportunity. So we've got all these things lined up, and I'm not pushing the button on any of them until
where it's
jump. But we're ready to go, right? So I think at the moment what we're doing is just kind of getting our ducks in a row and kind of just trying to be organised and ready, so that when there is a shift, we can go, cool, we're ready. We can adapt
it very quickly, as opposed to
you don't want to be that. You don't want to be a Blockbusters, right? And you don't want to be now Netflix has come out, and now we're completely it's so you don't want to be in that position where it's like, everything we do now is redundant.
So last question, because I've taken up so much of your time, but I've just enjoyed that.
It's okay, the dogs are desperate now. It's just like, it's lunchtime.
She's like, it's lunchtime. Let me out.
I know,
like, I've been silent for so long. What are the future plans for your business?
So I think now we've just been through this rebrand and refocus at looking at kind of non-profits and going down that kind of line. But I think we'll continue doing what we do. Like I said, we'll continue trying to innovate and do things better and do things differently in line with what needs to be done. But I definitely want to kind of focus on this new project of ours and shift and look at working more with getting digital resources into schools, ideally for free, ideally funded by people who can fund it. So we're looking at corporate sponsorships, we're looking at grant funding opportunities to help us to develop it further. And my dream is to be able to create this huge library of free interactive lessons for schools that are used across the world. Even that's kind of that's my visualization. They call it. I like to visualize and go. You've got to visualize to achieve it. And sure. I know that it's not going to happen next year or the year after, but that's where I want to get to that point of going. We've created something that's really, really impactful and is good. It's a good thing. It's not just it's not just a thing that we've created that we're making money on. It's not going to make me a millionaire, but I don't want to be a millionaire. I just want to have a positive impact.
Well, thank you so much. It's been so amazing to talk to you, and it's been really good fun. It's like old times.
Yes, thank you. No, it's been good. I appreciate you taking the time to come and see me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.